diving into the world of captive whales inspired by Blackfish, Free Willy, and the real life debate around SeaWorld and marine parks. Today I'm with Marty, professor and occupation specialist in orcas and psychologist in orcas and Professor Pimentel. And myself, I am global UFC commentator, fighter, champion of the world. And today we'll be discussing basically about orcas, just the captivity of orcas. So, Marty, what is whale captivity?
So yes, whale captivity, like said in the freaking name, it's when you capture a freaking whale and keep it inside an enclosure for a long time. But it's not just that, people keep these animals in like this enclosed environment for the sole purpose of public entertainment. It's often justified as like a method of research and you're protecting sea animals, but it's actually like the opposite. I mean, people just use them for the shows. And it's not just whales, it's other animals, but it's really, notorious for whales. And like I said before, they use, research purposes as like something to justify the fact that they're actually like capturing them for public entertainment. But it's funny that they say that because, many recent like there's no recent signs of like their possible endangerment or extinction, so there really isn't nothing that they're protecting them from. And they're actually evolving, but we'll get into that later. But the history of all this and, capturing whales didn't just start with SeaWorld. It started,
Specifically, orcas, correct? Just orcas, killer whales.
yeah,
Okay,
exactly,
okay, I
yeah.
just want to make sure.
So yeah, it's like the capturing of like freaking whales and orcas specifically started in the 1930s with the marine studios in Florida. But it wasn't until the introduction of this whale named Orky in Marine Land Canada that other marine parks started capturing whales for their own use, and they've been doing that. And a fun fact about this is that the same freaking whale that they had in Canada was one of the longest whales to survive, and it's actually like its child continues to live and is actually here in San Diego, and its name is like Corky or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much it. But
Okay, and who are these like aquariums or like companies, like specifically like these companies? So I know SeaWorld is one of them, right? Correct.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, and then I heard about Los Pololocos. Freaking, I don't even know what that is. Somewhere in Spain, right?
yeah,
Um, and then do you know about the one in France? I'm pretty sure there's one in France as well, right?
yeah.
Specialist Marty, you don't sound so sure about
No,
that.
no, 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 no. I
Jamie,
do.
Jamie, can we get someone to pull that up? Because I don't
Okay,
know if
okay.
that
No,
one's
no, no,
correct.
no. Okay. No, I do know about the one in Spain. It was discussed in like the documentary how like the guy, the guy died. This Puerto Rican guy like died and all that. But I didn't really hear about the France one. But I know my stuff from the United States. Okay, I know the companies that were here in the United States, North America. I wouldn't say foreign, but like yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, well, basically, okay. There's other people that just capture whales, not
Yeah,
just SeaWorld.
yeah.
That's kind of the consensus that I'm getting right now. Um, oh, talking about the freaking documentary, with what is it? Los Pololocos. I don't
Mm-hmm.
Los. Is that how you say it? I don't know how you say it. I can't. Words are hard.
Mm,
Spanish words are hard. But yeah, the Blackfish and Free Willy. I mean, those two. Well, Free Willy. We'll talk
mhm.
about Free Willy. Do you want? Let's talk about that now. Free
Okay.
Willy was interesting. I liked
Yeah.
it. I enjoyed it. It's a cool movie. I don't think it's like that educational. I think it's like
Yeah.
it might have been cool back then, like seeing that,
Mm,
like oh my gosh, like look at these orcas. Oh, I think
yeah.
it's like 1983 when they made it.
No, it was
19
1993.
No, oh, 1993. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
well, that makes more sense. I was like
Yeah.
1983 doesn't sound so right. Okay, 1993. I mean, it's cool. I mean,
Yes.
it's a little corny in some
Yeah,
parts,
that's what
but
I was saying. Yeah, I mean, back then people were kind of just like easily influenced by whatever they saw, like
mm,
films and all that. And I mean, it was made like that way because, back then, like I said before, like people are easily persuaded and stuff. But honestly, like I did my research on that movie and how like it actually made an impact on people because as I was watching this movie, I was like, okay, this stuff is really corny. Like, how did people actually like come to the conclusion of like, oh guys, like let's free the freaking whales. Like, I think because of its corniness, I don't even know if that's a word, but like its cringiness. Like, I feel like because of that, people were actually encouraged to take action. But I actually did my own research, and the whale, freaking Willie, it's actually based on a free will whale named freaking Keiko, and like many of the help that like they got, many of the support that the movie got came from like a bunch of children and like a bunch of rich people that funded like this research company that was willing to actually release the well itself to the ocean. And I feel like because they got a lot of like this movie, like although it might not be so impactful to us as adolescents, back then it was really impactful to children and like yeah, I mean that's where most of the support
this is like
uh
the first
yeah,
like real representation of like, or like the first like seeing that front value, or like seeing that face value.
yeah,
Like before, like no one really like saw like, oh, it's they just see orcas and they're like, oh, that's
yeah,
cool, but they never saw like the reality of it. That's what I'm
yeah,
trying to get at.
yeah,
It's like it
yeah,
was the first time where it was actually not really documented because it was obviously dramatized and like very dramatic. And
mm-hmm.
that's where I think it really appealed to people, was like, oh, it's very, oh my gosh, I'm crying, I'm crying, I'm crying, this is so sad. Oh, look at that orca, oh my gosh, it's so sad, look at it. And, it was very emotional. But yeah, I could see how that would get some kids crying back in the movie theaters in
Mm-hmm.
1993. But
Yeah,
yeah, Free Willy was overall great movie. I could see how it could spark change later in the future, or the idea of like, hey, this is kind of wrong, this is kind of messed up. But Blackfish, I think Blackfish is on a whole different level. There's a lot of interesting things about Blackfish that it points out and showcases. I think one of the important things, or not important things, just something I found interesting in the film, not really important at all, but just interesting, was the fact that it kept mentioning the orcas as killer whales, and
mm-hmm.
captivity, and like all of that is true, but it's just funny how like they never really said orcas or like any of that stuff. They just mentioned killer whales as if like they're out there to be in the ocean, like to
Yeah,
emphasize that they are killers, like they will kill. They are whales. They should be out in the wild, out in the sea, and not
yeah,
in these little pool tanks that are so tiny for them. I mean, it's so messed up.
yeah. I totally like, yeah, they emphasize that point of like them being killer whales and how because of that, like they really need to get out. And I feel like they did this by, showing how like the whales themselves, like inside the enclosures, they get frustrated with each other. They start like, fighting each other. They gain up on each other. And it's like people like demonstrate this as like, oh, a friendly environment where all of them like get together. But like if you think about it, like these animals are like really intelligent. Like you can compare them to like a human brain. And one thing that's really unique about orcas is that they're like emotionally aware. So just like us, obviously they're gonna grow like very frustrated at the fact that they're like inside, heavily
Yeah.
trapped,
They're
and
doing
just like,
circles in the tanks like
yeah,
over and over. I think anyone would be really upset. Like any animal probably would. Not
yeah,
any, but I think most animals with a huge brain like orcas, or like any
mhm.
sentient animal like that with like emotions and feelings and all of those things, like they would get upset. There's no
Well,
doubt.
yeah. And like they grow so frustrated to the point where they become aggressive to the trainers, you know? So that's where the idea of like killer whale comes from. And that's like that, like you said, that's when they're like, oh, you know, because like they're these killer whales, they need to
They
be
are
sent
killer
back.
whales. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't disagree. They aren't. I mean,
Mhm.
that's what they're called as well.
Yeah.
But it was just interesting how many times they said that, and like how I felt it was emphasized towards me, or how I just like I don't know. My eyes really caught on to like killer whales, because they never said orcas, and I'm used to like them being called orcas
Orcas.
or
Mm.
whales or dolphins or whatever. Because I'm pretty sure they're also considered dolphins, but I could be wrong on that. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know about that.
I heard that from my
But
dad, but my dad could be wrong. I don't know.
I mean, your dad is diverse, so
Oh yeah,
okay.
he is a diver. I
um,
wonder if he's ever seen an orca.
an
Actually,
orca,
I don't know.
yeah,
I should ask him what he thinks about this
yeah.
too.
But I
Anyway,
was, you know, one thing that's like interesting because you brought that up, like they're obviously killer whales, you know, but like it's said in the documentary itself is that like orcas outside of like SeaWorld and like just the enclosures, they're actually very friendly to human beings. Like there hasn't been an incident,
mm,
well, like a documented incident where like outside of this, like the whales have attacked, you know, human beings. They're actually very friendly.
yeah,
So it just goes to show how like that kind of environment really creates this image of them being a killer whale when in reality, like, yes, they are, like, you know, they hunt seals and they do it very brutally, but like truly they are very friendly to us. We create our own like enemy, you know? So
yeah.
it's kind of like
No, I see what
that's
you're saying. Yeah, I for sure see what you're saying in a way.
yeah.
I think they're called killer
Mhm.
whales because they are legitimately like killers in the sea.
Mhm.
But I think it's
Mhm.
also like we emphasize the word killer because we think they might kill us. But
Yeah.
they've only killed us, at least according to the documentary, obviously, Blackfish. They've only really had incidents where they were you know, captive or whatever,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know.
Yeah. I was
So
gonna say also like I also agree with your idea of like as a kid, I've always been like, you know, they're orcas. But as you grow up, they're like, oh, everyone's like, no, they're killer whales. Like, I find it interesting how you're very innocent, and then like you're like, oh, they're just orcas. Why do people call them killer whales? And then you find out all that, you know. But
And one thing a little off topic, but just like the fact that these two movies are very different in the way that they want to like capture their audience and like
yeah,
show light to this new area, or this not area, but like show light in this region that isn't really talked about around just people. When they see these orcas, they're like, oh, this is sweet, this is nice, but they don't think about the fact that, or they're captured, you know, like they're stuck in here forever, or
mhm,
forever how long. But it
mhm,
was just the fact like how these movies really capture the audience. Like Free Willy, I feel like it's very emotional, you know.
mhm,
It'll make you cry. I
yeah,
don't know, I didn't cry, but maybe if I was 8, maybe I would cry, I don't know.
yeah,
But
no,
with
yeah.
Blackfish, I mean, it's like it's a documentary. I mean,
Mm. No, you get
it's providing,
scared. Like I feel
yeah.
like it provokes a lot of fear. Like I remember when they
You know
showed
what?
like the trainer, like he like the whale like freaking like squishing the trainer as it like jumped over it, you
Yeah.
know? That was scary. Like
Oh, yeah.
everyone was like in
And
shock.
then
Everyone
when
was
the
like, what the
dolphin, well,
hell?
I mean, when the orca or killer whale was like dragging him, and it like dragging
Yeah.
this guy in and out of the water, and then you just see him breathing very calmly, and it's like, dang. Like, and then you're thinking about yourself. Like, at least I was thinking about myself. Like, if I was in that scenario, what would I do? I was like, dude, I would panic. But he was so calm, and he
Yeah.
survived. He survived, but I'm just like, not many people would have freaking
No.
survived that. Like, if he splashed just a little bit, I mean, he probably would have been dead. But I don't know. I mean, that was insane to watch. I'm surprised they put that in the documentary too. It was crazy how many like evidence they had on like the accounts of people almost dying, or people dying, and just like real life evidence that you can see with your eyes. And then the fact that like SeaWorld and all of them are hiding it a little bit, you know, or are hiding it, you know. They're hiring all these lawyers, these fancy lawyers to cover it up, and it's pretty messed up.
Mhm.
It is still messed up.
And what did you think about the lady that was like smiling and she was like telling the story about that one trainer that died with telecom?
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, she was like she was something. I remember watching that and I don't know, I feel like she just wanted attention.
Mhm.
But that was just
No,
a
but
little weird.
no, like it's just like I remember thinking to myself, like, why am I the only one like being like, why is she
Yeah,
smiling?
why is
Like,
she
why am I the
smiling
only
to
one
like
noticing that?
everyone?
Yeah, and then everyone was like, why is she smiling like that? I was like, yes,
Yeah,
people realize, like, dude, like why is she like smiling at the camera like that? And then like zooming into like I don't know, it just looked very suspicious.
it looked
But
like
I mean,
she
she
liked
was,
the attention.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
very weird.
But she was like telling the truth. That's
He
the
was
thing.
telling the story. It was just I don't
Yeah.
know, like that was just a weird thing. A little off
Yes,
topic, but it was just a little weird. I was like, what the heck? It's just why does she continue smiling?
I know. It
But
was
I really like the fact that Blackfish was like I don't know, it just really gravitated towards me and I just really liked it. I enjoyed it a lot and I liked the fact that I had like evidence to back everything up and claims that like actually made sense to me and I actually got it. While Free Willy was just, it's just a enjoyable movie that I might watch while eating popcorn. Won't think
yeah,
much about the message at the end of the day. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, one of the quotes that I really liked from like Blackfish was probably like the one where a former SeaWorld trainer, his name is John Jett, he was like, I'm not at all interested in having my daughter grow up thinking that it's normalized to have these intelligent, highly evolved animals in concrete pools. Because like as kids we're
Uh,
like we're amazed by these creatures, like we don't see them at all, you know, so we're like wow, like you know, like it's amazing, and to us we don't suspect anything. And obviously like a little child wouldn't suspect, you know, anything from that, but like you definitely like grow accustomed to like not the stereotypes but like you know what people demonstrate as good and don't really see the bad, you know, you don't really get an idea of what is actually bad and how it's dangerous to them, you know.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I just thought that was crazy because me too, like if I were to become like a parent, like I would also not like my child like you know
yeah.
perceiving things in that way either, so yeah.
So in that aspect, how did you feel about the field trip? Like thinking about that quote, like do you feel a different type of way when you saw those animals like during the field trip? I know I
No,
did.
yeah, yeah.
Especially seeing those like floppy I
The
don't know. I
soft
saw these
thing,
two
yeah.
orcas. I don't know if you saw them as
No,
well.
yeah, I do.
But one had like a floppy one and then one looked like a baby and it didn't
Mm-hmm.
have like a floppy, what is it called? Not a
Like a
wing. I
flop
don't
fin,
Oh,
a fin.
fin. Yeah. Like a floppy fin. I don't know why I can think of that. Um one had that and then the other one didn't have that. And it's so sad like I don't know, just that it shouldn't be like that. There's something wrong, and that's specified too. I mean, it's in like yeah, not most orcas like in the wild like 0.0 or whatever percentage. It was very very low. Shouldn't have a floppy fin or whatever. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I don't know why it's like that. I'm interested why. I don't know if the like depicts like oh they're just sad. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I
Is it
when
like
I see
yeah?
that is it just like oh they're just sad
They're
because I
sad.
mean
Yeah.
that's what
Cause
I
they're
would
so sad.
assume. And I know you asked one of the workers there, right? I don't know if you saw
Oh
the worker.
yeah,
Did
yeah.
you?
No, yeah. I asked the worker like, cause in the movie it was like if you like back then if you ask the worker, oh like how long do they live, they'll be like, oh
Oh,
yeah, they live like a total lifespan of like 30 to 40 years, and like that's how a regular orca lives. But in reality, like wild orcas like that are actually in the ocean, like they live like a long time, for a long time, like a human lifespan, like 60 to 70 years, 80 even. And I asked the worker, I was about to say orker, the worker, like how long do they survive or whatever, and they were like oh no, yeah, like they live for like 60 to 70 years. And I was like, wow, like they don't say what they used to say back
Yeah,
then, you know?
that makes sense. There's
I mean, that
probably,
makes sense because like SeaWorld doesn't want to like get a lawsuit. And I mean, we're all aware
and
now.
I don't think you were the only one to ask that question. I think
Yeah,
there's probably thousands, and
many
she
other
might have even
people.
knew what you were trying to get at too. Like, oh, this kid just watched the Blackfish documentary and is trying to get. So I
No.
bet they're probably even trained in that maybe too, like to like be careful in what questions they want to answer.
No,
And yeah,
yeah,
for
no, yeah.
sure.
I think they follow like a script and everything. I think they have that. So,
Yeah, like a little guideline that they can't pass. Like,
mhm.
oh, if someone asks this question, don't answer that. For sure. Especially after Blackfish exposed a lot of wrongdoings that they were doing.
Mhm.
And for me, I have an argument that captivity in general is just wrong. I don't think anyone should be captured and just forever stuck there unless like they were hurt. I can get like if an animal is hurt and
Yeah.
we come in or some biologists come in, Professor Marty, specialist orca whale, comes in and tries saving the orcas,
Okay.
and then we keep them in captivity for a little while until they heal, until they get better, and then we send them back out in the ocean. But to keep them there and then to breed them and then to make more and then more and more and just form one whale called Telecom, just
I
like one
know.
whale forever and ever and ever. His bloodline will be passed down. It's kind of messed up, and like to force that on an orca, and like I don't know, that whole scene too of just seeing that was weird to me. I was
That was
like, what?
disgusting. Yeah. Like, why
I was
are
like,
they?
why are we doing this? Like, I don't know if we do that with. I think we do that with other animals, but it's just weird. Like, why we're capturing this whale and we're just forcing it to breed others of its kind. It was just kind of messed up too. Just using it for personal gain. And it's all
Yeah.
just about money too, and it just didn't sit right with me seeing that scene. Like it should be out in the sea, naturally, producing, not being forced. Like no one would like to be used like that. So why are we using an animal like that? That's my thought.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if this animal is like intelligent. I mean, its brain. I think you mentioned it a while ago. Like its brain is 2 times our size, or however big. Like I mean, it showed us a picture, and like that's a big brain. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't know how big that brain is, but that's huge, and it
Yeah.
has a part of the brain that we don't have. You
Yeah.
know?
But I did more research on this too. Like there's this part of the brain that we have. It's called the limbic system, where it's like this part of the brain where we like process our like emotions and like we're able to contain like our memory and enhance it and like that's what orcas have and they have it like much more enhanced than us and it's just like I feel like it just builds on that idea like they're really just emotionally intelligent beings that you can even agree like you can even compare it to us. And
Yeah,
I think I said it earlier too like I mean you wouldn't like if you were in that situation knowing that a whale is like emotionally as emotionally intelligent as us like I feel like obviously they wouldn't like to be kept in an enclosure and all that. But yeah, and then going to SeaWorld, I mean, it definitely like changes your perception of things. Like you feel sad. Like you actually feel sad and you're like you look at the whales and I remember looking at the whale and it had a bunch of scratches, like and then you look at its flat fin, like you said, and it doesn't look good. Like they're not you just begin to look at a bunch of flaws and you don't like those flaws like kind of take over like the positive feeling of like looking at a whale and like how shocking it is, and exciting, but it's
so we
just
kind of agree overall on the argument that I just made, or the idea that I just made, like that it's wrong.
yeah.
That captivity of orcas is basically just wrong. No one should be captured. And then the arguments that could be made for it, I don't really see much. I don't know what arguments you could make for it. Maybe like educating the youth on it, or um, research research opportunities, and then breeding endangered species. But they're not, like, I don't really know if they're endangered.
No, they're not. They're
Oh, okay,
not.
they aren't. Okay.
That's what I was gonna get to earlier. Like, they're not an endangered species. Like, there hasn't been any research or any of that that's like been like, that says like overall the orca species is going extinct. Like,
Yeah,
no,
we need to come in and save them. Yeah.
yeah, like
And
I
then research
saw.
opportunities too. Like I feel like, we don't we've researched them enough. Like let them be free. We can research them later on in the
And
future.
yeah, and you know what's crazy? Like, even if we release these animals to the wild, like, yeah, it's good, but the thing is, like, these animals, they've grown so adapted to, like, being in an enclosure that, like, when you release them, they don't,
Yeah, how are they gonna function in the
yeah, they
sea?
don't function well because they're so used to, like,
Yeah.
the well that I mentioned earlier, Keiko. They did a lot, like, cause his health was like declining a lot. So like they did a lot of, like, they helped him, they sent him to different areas where like they rehabilitated him and, like, helped him increase his health, and eventually they did. But when they released him back to the ocean, like, he was all good. He was able to, like, hunt for himself. He didn't like rely on like humans for hunting or like fish or whatever. And like he was able to even, like, swim deeper, because he was like in the enclosure, he wasn't able to like swim deep because they grow used to that. But because of the training, he was able to. But like he was like able to do all this, and then like when they released him, yeah, all that. But then, like, um the whale was actually suffering from loneliness. Like, it couldn't adapt to other pods of orcas because they just
Mm,
didn't socially accept it.
yeah.
And it would actually go to like human beings to like interact and engage with them. And they, like, I saw like this clip where like he even like would give like little kids like rides, and it might sound like not true, but I literally saw a video on that, and it's true. And it's just like, it's crazy how like you send them back and they just can't adapt anymore, because like they're just not socially accepted. Like, they have their own society, just like own societies, just like us.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And it's a
in
whole
yeah,
new environment for them.
yeah,
Like, yeah, it's the new
like,
environment, new people, like it's the whole thing.
and I'm also wondering, like, even after the release of Blackfish, like, I've wondered and I question this myself, like, why hasn't SeaWorld like just like released all its orcas? And obviously it's like an issue of money and all that, because like, without the orcas you lose your whole entire like purpose. But it's also a matter of fact, like, if they were to like release them, they wouldn't be able to survive. And many people, like, and if they were to die, obviously that would be like exposed to the news and all that, and people would be like, you know
That would
what,
be
like,
worse.
that
So
would be
they're
even worse
they're stuck with
reputation.
they're
Yeah.
stuck with them for now because
Mhm.
I don't know what you could do with them. Like you release them and you hope like, oh, maybe they'll know how to, you know, find their prey and survive, or maybe they won't
Yeah.
know how and they'll
Yeah.
just die. And but I assume they'll know how to hunt maybe a little bit.
Yeah,
But
but they
even
won't be.
then, I think we just need to slow it down and just, I don't know, somehow stop this captivity and maybe help them get back into the water. Help them somehow.
Mm, yeah.
So what do you think? After saying all this, what do you think about captivity and blackfish and just everything that we talked about right now?
I mean, I think it's like morally wrong, obviously. It's just like, these whales are human beings. They're like I said
I wouldn't say
before.
human beings, but I see what you're saying. There's
No,
similar,
okay,
like,
this is what, like, I don't want to sound stupid because they're not like human beings.
yeah,
But they're
yeah,
human beings in that they have that emotional aspect. They're highly intelligent. So why do we have a bunch of freaking these like huge like creatures in a freaking tank, and they're just
yeah.
highly intelligent and all that? Obviously they're gonna grow
I think
frustrated. So
the
it's
fact
just
that they
yeah.
are highly intelligent,
Mhm.
or whatever, Marty's specialist, professor,
Yeah.
president, whatever, is saying, like, makes it worse.
Hmm.
I think even either way, if they weren't intelligent, it's still like, seeing animals captured in a zoo or
It's
kept
just
in
yeah.
a tight cage, it doesn't sit right with you either way.
Yeah.
But knowing that they're even smarter than that, they could be smarter than us, which I don't know. Some people say they're aliens from a different planet, but okay, buddy. But no. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
I
It's
think so.
interesting. You think what? They're aliens?
I think they're aliens from a different planet.
Okay, a lot of people do. I think my dad was talking about it too. He's like, some people believe it. I don't know who believes that, but some people do.
I think they are, bro. Scientists have even like classified them as like their own species. Like
Yeah. Wait.
crazy.
Wait. What do you mean own species?
Yeah, like they were like okay, so like because like it's because
Wait.
like
What?
oh my god, orcas they're like different. Like there's different species of orcas, and they're not like every other animal. You know, like they have their own type of thing. I don't know how to explain it,
Type
but
of
they have their own
thing.
qualities and characteristics that classify them as their own species, and.
Yeah.
But because many whales come from different regions, obviously they adapt to the environments differently. So like there's different species of orcas. For example, like orcas here in the south are like very different from like the orcas that are more in the
And what
north,
makes
you
them
know?
like a different? Like, what makes a species? I guess if you're gonna say like they're trying to classify them as a different species. Can we categorize species just so I have an idea of what that is?
Like
And the
species,
audience,
I mean, oh,
just
so
for
you're
him, I guess.
asking me what the definition of species is, right?
Yes, I'm just
It's
asking.
basically like kind of like how do I explain this? Sorry. Okay, it's like you're I don't know how to explain it. It's
Seems
just
like
you're very
Professor Specialist Marty is
I'm
struggling.
sorry. Like it's a species is literally like a different organism that just
I don't even know if that's right. I think
I
that's
know, it's
enough.
right.
I think this has been great talking with you, Marty Specialist Pimentel, and we'll get back to you some other time on what a
Um,
species is because I don't even think I could answer that question. I think I trapped you with that question. I
no, I mean
gotcha.
a different species are different organisms, period. We're a different type of species.
I don't
We're
know.
human beings. We're humans.
I'll have Jamie pull that up after this. Well, it was great talking to you, Pimentel scientist, Pimentel biologist, oceanography.
Thank you.
It was great talking to you, and I'm glad that I could have you on my Didelva podcast.
Oh, okay, so you're just
Um,
gonna
yeah, it's my podcast. Okay, well,
okay then.
great having you. Um, we'll talk to you next time, audience slash Mr. Hernandez. Tune back some other time. We'll talk about aliens from a different planet in
They
JFK.
are. I don't know what you're talking about, but
Okay.
they are
Okay.
aliens.
Amazing. You know what, I'm not even talking about organs, just aliens. Okay.